Welcome to the Great Lakes Water Authority's One Water News Report. I'm Aftab Borkup. We begin our show with the launch of a new pilot project. GLWA will utilize technology that can see inside of large transmission mains and monitor the condition while it's still in operation. This cutting-edge tech is the Smart Ball and Pipe Diver, and these exciting innovations offer us a way to identify problems before a catastrophic failure.
A year ago, we managed to have the largest main break that GLWA has had since its inception in 2016. It wasn't a pleasant circumstance for any of us. It affected almost 300,000 people in those 11 communities. It affected patients in hospitals and senior care facilities and businesses. It's not an experience that we want any of our member partners and their citizens to have in their communities.
We assessed the situation, looked at different scenarios on breaks on that dead end so that we have our emergency prepared plans in place as we are working toward the capital investment. And so this is a very exciting time for us to try out some new technology. We know with underground assets, they are not seen and they're not easily accessible.
We're learning about the innovative tools and technologies that GLWA is leveraging to better position us going forward in the operation and maintenance of the 48-inch transmission main that serves 11 communities in this area of the system.
Much like a garden hose, if you turn your garden hose on, you hear a leak from the garden hose. Pressurized pipe is no different. It generates a unique hissing sound when there's a leak in the pipeline. This technology is called Smart Ball. It's a foam ball that's inserted in the pipeline, and when it fills with water, it rolls through the pipeline, tracks along the bottom of the pipeline. It has this aluminum data acquisition system inside of it, which contains a series of sensors, software, circuitry, and so forth that collects data on the condition of the pipeline. The primary sensor in it is an acoustic sensor that records the sound as it rolls through the pipeline, and it basically listens for a leak in a pressurized pipe.
This is the Pipe Diver, which is a pipeline condition assessment tool. This Pipe Diver is configured to inspect PCCP, pre-stressed concrete cylinder pipe. Now the Pipe Diver can be configured to inspect nearly any pipe type, but this one is focused just on PCCP. So this tool will go through there, it will assess the steel pre-stressing wire, and once you assess the pre-stressing wire for each pipe, it'll give you an indication of the health of each individual pipe.
You go back 15 to 20 years ago, these technologies didn't exist at all. Utilities really had to manage their pipe system by tracking main breaks where they're happening. At that point, it's really too late already. What data from these technologies is showing is that the vast majority of even problematic pipelines are in really good condition. Only 4% of most pipelines are actually damaged. So if we can go out, identify the 4% of damage in the pipe and help the utility implement repairs of those pipelines, they can ensure the safety of the pipeline for much less cost than replacing it.
You know, emergency repairs are much more expensive than those that we can predict and take care of in advance. Foresight's better than hindsight, and we're hoping that this technology is going to absolutely help us do that.
GLWA operates and maintains a vast regional infrastructure worth billions of dollars. It's a huge responsibility that requires a comprehensive plan to manage physical assets while remaining fiscally responsible. The Capital Improvement Plan aims to do just that. It has been updated through the year 2024 with a few key features that ensure the authority remains sustainable into the future.
Water is life, and so this is a resource that all of us need, and so it's important for us to maintain that. We have a plan that gives us this flexibility to change our scenarios based on what we're actually seeing. We want to maintain our operations. We want to make sure that we're still providing water of unquestionable quality, but we also need to make sure that we can update our infrastructure.
GLWA has goals, and we certainly want to be sustainable, and we want to be resilient. And our assets and the equipment that we have long, useful lives. So we need to plan early to make sure that we're resilient in the future. And so because it might take 5 years to for a project from conception all the way to completion, we have to plan ahead to make sure that those projects are in the right order, that they're the right projects to get us where we want to go. I like to think of it as kind of a picture or a puzzle, and each project is a piece of that puzzle. And the fact of the matter is the vision changes. 5-year vision is a little different than 10-year. 10 years a little different than 20 or 40. And so we have to make sure that all those pieces of the puzzle fit together neatly so we have that high quality, sustainable service that we provide, because it's so important to public health and the environment.
Currently, we have a CIP project for the Industrial Waste Control Division that's focused on bringing the analytical lab and the IWC staff to the administration building here at the Water Resource Recovery Facility. That project will do a number of things for us. It'll make best use of our facilities by utilizing our own facilities, the ones we own versus the ones we lease. So that's something that we're looking forward to doing. In addition to that, it brings these 3 business partners together. Our analytical lab and operations lab will be combined. Our IWC staff will be located right across the hall as opposed to being miles apart like they were before. So our IWC staff has a number of folks responsible for different portions of ensuring that the industries are in compliance with our requirements. And that consists of going out into the field, obtaining samples, bringing those samples back to our analytical lab, having them analyzed. And then our operations lab has been here providing the information that our operators need in order to optimize our operations here at the plant. So bringing these 3 forces together under one roof is really going to improve our ability to communicate with one another and to be able to achieve our objectives more efficiently and effectively.
If we don't plan the right timing and the right projects for renewals, and renewals could be repairs, renewals could be replacements, if we're not careful about the pieces of the puzzle as we plan them, they won't fit together. The other thing that's really important is any kind of an emergency response costs much more, many times more than a planned replacement. And because our services are essential to public health and the environment, when we have an emergency, we have to repair things immediately. If we can do good planning and good replacement, we can be a lot more fiscally responsible.
Building on the prioritization that we did in the CIP last year, we used the same criteria, same weighting factors, which were great. And we expanded that to more concepts of asset management, looking at the probability of failure if we didn't do this project and the consequence of failure if we didn't do this project. And we created a matrix or a heat map to lay out all of the projects, water projects in one, wastewater projects in another, and lay out those projects on this heat map to understand truly which ones have the highest risk. New to the plan was a prioritization process where we utilize 8 criteria and we rank these projects. Both the project manager ranks the projects as well as we come together in what we call the water and a wastewater review committee, which are representatives from the various business units. We also included our member partner representatives, 1 member partner for water, 1 member partner for wastewater. This is the 2nd year in a row that we've done that. So I think it's very helpful for our member partners and very helpful for our organization to truly understand which projects are more critical than others.
Projects are driven by operations and maintenance staff made at our facility. So that's at the water treatment plants and then our system control center and field services groups that maintain and operate our transmission system and pumping stations. So they really know what the problems are or needs are for the facilities. So we work with them very, very closely, our engineering group.
So when we talk about the team, we're talking about our operators, our maintainers, our engineers, our asset management folks working together. We're going out into the field, determining what the issues are, and coming back to our offices and interpreting that information into engineering documentation that will ultimately be used to help address the issues that we're experiencing here at the facility and help to ensure permit compliance for us as an organization.
We're coming together as a region. The fact that the pipes are all connected, it's one single system. GLWA has a good tight-knit coalition in the region now. We're the hub for that. We reach out to all these different communities. We serve nearly 30% of the state's population in wastewater services. So understanding how we can best operate that system as a region, that's what we need to do. There's a couple really good reasons for that. And I would say the biggest is the fact that we need to avoid future spending by optimizing what we have today.
We're an organization that's about continuous improvement. So we're constantly looking at things and trying to improve our process to make sure that we're first doing the right things, and then that we're getting better at doing those right things. We're committed to that continuous improvement.
Imagine if this was your house and no water came out of that hose. To make sure firefighters can do their job, we need to make sure that we do ours. GLWA has over 200 hydrants that we need to maintain. Like all of GLWA assets, hydrants degrade and need periodic maintenance and testing to make sure that they work when needed. Hydrant maintenance consists of inspection, flow testing, and winterization.
By inspecting our hydrants every 12 months, we can make sure that they are available in the unfortunate situation that we need them. GLWA's asset management group is working closely with our field services team to track where our hydrants are, what condition they're in, and to implement a preventative maintenance and testing program. In November of each year, the annual work order includes a visual inspection of the hydrant and immediate area for safety and condition issues. Work orders are then created for any defects found, such as painting or major repairs. Minor issues, like replacing missing nozzle caps, are addressed at the time of the inspection. Flow tests are then conducted to ensure that the hydrant can deliver the required flow when needed. Finally, hydrants are then winterized by removing the water in the barrel above the hydrant's main valve. This prevents internal damage to the hydrant if water happens to freeze inside them.
All the results of the inspections and testing go back into GLWA's GIS program and CMMS so they can be tracked. Knowing what maintenance is being done on each hydrant allows GLWA to develop a specific improvement program for each hydrant.
Through programs such as the Hydrant program, we are able to exceed our customers' expectations by utilising best practices in the transmission of water and promote healthy communities and economic growth. This program is another example of GLWA's ongoing commitment to asset management. Operating, maintaining, and renewing our assets is at the core of achieving our mission.
So the next time that we need water to come out of one of these hydrants, you can be confident that it will.
Providing water and wastewater services of the highest quality to 127 municipalities is no easy task. And for our member partners, managing the flow of millions of gallons of water can be challenging. Imagine a fully customizable interface that monitors the data that is most important to your utility and is updated every 5 minutes. GLWA's Wholesale Automated Meter Reading System, or WAMR, helps member partners collect better data so they can better manage their resources.
My official title is Operations Manager. I oversee the Saukwa water system and its daily operations. We have 10 member communities and 2 non-member communities. Our first meter SCADA program was done via cellular phones here. There was a period of time when we would set a tone or a rate from the city of Detroit, and we would go with that and supplement with storage. We went to a training seminar that Eric put on, and that's when the light bulb went off in my head, said, boy, we should go radio, and maybe we can join efforts here with GLWA and get on their radio network.
WAMR was designed for the member partners. Its whole design was to provide them with data from their field meters and pressure devices. When the user logs onto Whammer, they're presented with a custom dashboard that they can set up to their own. So if the user's more interested in monitoring pressures because their system's very pressure sensitive, they can set up 1, 2, or 3 pressure charts, or if they're just looking at flows for billing purposes or contract compliance purposes, then they can set up the dashboards that way. We tried to make the dashboard very flexible for the user so that they can get the data that's most important to them.
So we have really 2 meter SCADA programs going on. One that's dedicated SACWA and the other which is dedicated GLEWA. So we have a unique system where we actually can see what we're buying from GLEWA and what we're selling to our wholesale customers. So we can watch the patterns and make adjustments and decisions on how we should be running our system that way.
So SACWA, as a authority themselves, they have their own control room that they're filling tanks and turning pumps on and off on a regular basis. They have their own SCADA system, they have their own control system, and they have a lot of instruments out in the field. So instead of looking at Whammer every day, they utilize a data feed from Whammer that goes directly into their SCADA system. So then Whammer is a point on their SCADA system that they can monitor all in one place. That can also be used for like third-party tools that we can provide this XML data feed. So if you have your own software solution, you don't need to log into Whammer every day. You can have the data populate your own system.
We have built an app where we can get into that database and we can actually see what our system's doing and GLEWA's system's doing on our mobile phone apps. So at any time of the day, I can type in our app and I can see exactly what we're buying and what we're selling. And I do this periodically through the summer months, especially during that prime pumping season, just to keep an extra set of eyes on it. And we can alarm on those set points so that if we do get close to a high set point, that it'll text me and it'll say, hey, you're approaching your max hour or whatever, or you're having low pressure in a certain area. So again, it's a great alarming system via the mobile phone.
So one of the features that we implemented in the last year was a billing screen, which allows the customer to see their daily average over the billed month compared to the previous 2 years. So that's a great way to QA/QC your data to see if you're on track. Maybe there's a meter issue and maybe you're being underbilled or overbilled, but it's a single screen which provides you with the reads for the month, the midnight readings from the 1st to the 1st, and the consumption from those. And down the road, there's opportunity to implement more cohesion with the billing team and have the bills available right there on that screen.
Well, there's 3 of us here at the SACWA that have access to the dashboard, and each of us we customize it to our own needs. I like to look at the hourly data, and I know you can put it in a bar graph, you can put it in a line graph, you can look at all the sites or just some of the sites. So it's very user-friendly. You can customize it to whatever you need to look for. And you can change it. You can change it if you're looking for a specific issue or problem.
We're very outgoing to the member partners that we're willing to look at suggestions from them to implement into Whammer.
Being a water operator, we always take in data. We're looking at data. So Whammer is bringing in data to us, and it's almost real-time data. It's probably the best you're ever going to get. To be a good operator and to make the right decisions, it's just an excellent tool in your tool bags.
The best way to reach out to us is at whammer@glwater.org.
If you haven't noticed already, GLWA has a brand new website. The idea behind this new look is to combine simplicity with the most vital information and tell our story to the public better than ever. At glwater.org, you will find all the latest information about the authority, meet our team members, and find answers to many frequently asked questions about water and wastewater services. The new layout has many modules that utilize visuals and graphics to make the information easy to digest. And if you want to find something specific, the search option at the top will help guide you to the right place. If you've driven on I-696, you might have noticed the City of Farmington Hills motto in the sky. No, it's not a new billboard or office building, it's a water tower. We spoke with the Director of Public Services, Karen Mondora, to understand how it works and what it means for the City of Farmington Hills.
Every time I see a water tower, I think to myself, why do they make these things? What are they used for? How do they work? Well, it's time to find out.
The water tower in Farmington Hills serves a number of purposes. The first one being that it is a reservoir of fresh, safe drinking water, and we can fill it during low periods of demand, off-peak times, so to speak, like in the night when people are asleep, and then we can supplement the supply when demands are higher, usually in the morning rush, when people are all getting up and getting ready for their day at the same time.
The water tower itself saves the city residents quite a bit of money. Buying cheaper water at night, and basically it's a longer story than that, but buying water at night and using it in the morning when it's high volume. We had additional fire protection. There's probably about 1 million gallons extra in that water tower just there in case of something big. I think it was in October we had a big water main break, and the water tower saved us from losing our pressure for another about 12 hours. It had enough water to keep the system pressurized. People could get up, take a shower that Tuesday morning after the water main break before we lost pressure. So there was a benefit there.
The City of Farmington Hills, as a wholesale customer, is able to reduce its demand on the system. So GLWA does not have to invest as much money in capital investments, in pumping and in distribution in particular.
This water tank itself is a customer to the system, is how I like to describe it. We store the water in it to clip off the needed peaks so that when we get the water from Great Lakes Water Authority, we can stay in contract. We get in here and we take a look at what's happening through our SCADA system. We can watch what's happening. We can see the water coming in and going out, and we can fill it remotely, and we can see what's happening. We'll generally fill the tank in about 4.5 to 5 hours in the evening. Water comes in from the ground over here, goes through the mag meter, up through the altitude sustaining valve, and up the riser. You know, when you hear that the tank's 200 foot tall and it's 3 million gallons of water, that's a lot. But when you can see this is big here, we'll go up upstairs and take one look, and you'll take a look, see how big it really is. When the operators come and they climb to the top to do the inspection on the screen, that's the ladder that they climb. They'll take it all the way up to the top. There's a catwalk they'll walk over to the center, and in the center there's a tube, a manway, and they'll climb that all the way to the top, open the hatch, and then get up on the roof.
And the material of this is all concrete, right?
The structure, the base structure at the bottom of this is all concrete. The bottom of the bowl for the tower is also concrete, but the walls and the roof are all steel.
Oh, okay.
Well, after a year after it was operational, we would get people asking us all the time, when are they going to put the top on the water tower? Because it wasn't domed on the top, it was more of a flat style. That's always a question that had come up, not so much anymore, but very frequently after it was put into service. We've seen towers that are painted like murals, towers that had three-dimensional features to them. I think there's one in Georgia that looks like a peach.
Everybody thinks that building's full of water, and it isn't. It's in the tank at the top. In fact, when we've given tours, that told the kids, we're going to open this door now. You got your snorkel, and and joke about it.
Well, it was very exciting to be involved in this project because it was a once-in-a-career type opportunity to build a water tower of this magnitude.
I tell you, now on a vacation, with my family's getting real tired of me pointing out water towers wherever I go, because it's like there's one of ours, there's one like ours, there's one not like ours, but there's a water tower, And there's a lot of water towers in this country.
Wow. Now when I see a water tower, I can say, I know why they make them and how they work.
Before we end the show, I want to take you behind the scenes to meet the team that not only puts together this show, but also all of GLWA's communications. Yes, my very own public affairs team. Starting with me, Aftab Borka, I host this show and also manage GLWA's social media channels and the public website. And this is Stephanie Geiger. Stephanie helps us with producing different stories for the show and also the script editing. And of course, Stephanie takes care of GLWA's internal communications, which includes the newsletter and the quarterly magazine. Moving on, we have Debbie Frazier. Debbie also helps us with script editing and some of the logistics of our show's production. Debbie takes care of all of our administrative duties and also helps the team with taking photos and shooting videos. And now, meet our team leader, GLWA's Chief Public Affairs Officer, Michelle Stradowski. Michelle is the news director of this show, and she is, of course, in charge of all of GLWA's internal and external communications. And finally, I want you to meet the executive producer of this show, Curtis Burris-White. Curtis not only produces this show, but also all of our other wonderful videos and graphics that you see across GLWA. That's my team. See you next time.